Good afternoon. So I'm here with my Crosman 2240 and I'm going to show how to remove the trigger and the sear. So I'm going to give them a bit of a polish up, a bit of a clean up. So what I've got is a 1.5mm hex to undo the 3 screws for the plate, a flat blade screwdriver to drop the take the grips off and also take the trigger assembly off. I've got some 600 grade and 3000 grade wet and dry, and some auto sole. It's like a metal polish, so I'm going to clean up the sear faces with that, and a little lid to put my little bits and pieces in. Okay, so first of all, we'll remove the grip scissors. So just pretty straightforward. Under here you'll find the trigger spring. There it is there. Take both sides off. Obviously I've already checked this this piston is empty. Obviously there's no CO2 in it, no pellets. We'll do a safety check. There you go, that's the 2 grips off. So you can take this spring out here. So obviously I'll do a little bit of compression on this spring at some time to lower the actual pressure on it. Let's get it off. Almost out. That's it. So that's the spring that gives the trigger weight. Pop in there. And then what we're going to do next is undo the 2 screws that hold the actual grip assembly in. And you've got to be very careful because there is a spring for the safety and a ball. So best thing is to probably hold it like that. Remove. Just probably remove the rear one first. It might be better. Okay. Just holding it together with your thumb so it doesn't that's out. Okay, and then the front one. So keep it nice and tight like so. And then upright like that and just very gently lift it off. The back one's obviously off. That's it, the front one's off. Just gently lift her. Right, so you've got that off. So you've got your little screw for the back, and you've got a longer screw for the front. And you see that spring there? That's your safety spring, so you need to take that little spring out, put your little lid. Then if you turn it over, there should be a little ball in there as well. And you can see that, the little steel ball, that's your detent for your safety. That goes in there as well. And then what you've got left is your sear and your cover. So what you do, you take your 1.5mm and just slack them off first. Keep your finger on the actual top. Make sure that it's a nice tight fit. You don't want to damage these. So you've got one there. Pop that there. You've got 2 more. That's it. That's cracked it. That's it. Yeah, make sure the bit you do use, and these are a nice tight fit on the actual screw heads, because you don't want to damage them. Okay, so that's the rear one, and they're all the same length. And then you can just lift this off, lift the cover off like so. That's the cover. And then inside you've got your safety. Obviously the red dot gets pushed through, so make sure it goes back in like that. Okay, and then you've got your rear sear, your rear pin, your trigger, and your trigger pin, and that's them all out. Okay, so what I have noticed that on the videos I've seen, they have some little nylon bushes in here, and there are no nylon bushes in here at all. So I did buy a little container off Amazon of all these little nylon bushes, and I shall probably fit them because there was a lot of play in the trigger, sideways movement on the trigger and the sear. So that'll probably affect the way it operates smoothly. Okay. In fact, there is just one little washer here, but it's not nylon. It's metal, which isn't very good. So that will go in the bin, and I shall find some nylon ones there to fit when I reassemble it. So that's how you take it apart. Pretty straightforward. Just be careful you don't lose that little steel ball bearing and the little spring. That's where you should lift it off vertically. Okay, and that's as far as we're going to go till we do the polish. So I hope you like a little video. Take care. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon. So I'm back with my Crosman 2240, and I've taken it apart to take the sear out and the trigger out to polish them up. So these are them back in position. You see I polished the actual trigger top there, the lower part that engages with the trigger where the spring sits, and also just tied up some of the burrs on there. I haven't changed the profile obviously of that because that locks the hammer back. Lubricated with the molybdenum on all the operating faces. I put the actual safety back in. Make sure you get your cut out at the bottom facing towards the trigger, so that obviously engages when you push the safety off. It allows the trigger to go up and down, and when it's on in this position you can see the sear sits, the trigger sits on against the actual safety. Okay, so that's all in position. Now a word on these little washers I've fitted, these nylon washers. That's the size. I've got a little pack there. They were a little thick, so I just used a bit of 600 grade to basically sand both faces down and make them a little bit thinner, so when the cover plate goes on it allows the actual trigger and the sear to free float, okay, or move, because I want a lot of sideways play in it, because what was fitted in this pistol was a little bit of a metal washer, whatever that is. It is actually metal, so that's pretty rubbish in it. So basically now we've got to this position here, we can put the cover back on, and when we do the screws up, because these are the 1.5mm hex screws, when we do these up, the sear and the trigger should all move freely. Right, so we'll just do them up, just hand tight or finger tight, not over tighten them. This is a plastic cover, by the way, and the main trigger assembly is all metal. So you thought this would have been metal as well, but so let's just do them up. Just finger tight, not over tighten them, and everything should move freely. So let's have a look. So that's it. Sear moving freely, the safety off. And yeah, the trigger just moved probably a little bit tight, and just take it down just a gnat's whisker. Yeah, there you go. The trigger's free to move. It's good. So what we'll do next, we'll put the spring back in. The actual spring goes in there. Then we'll put a bit of molybdenum on that, maybe just a little bit. Just wipe it on your fingers. And then that can go on the actual, this way, right way around. I think it's that way around. I think we put it, and then that needs to tuck back into the side there, like so. I'll get it in. I'll get my pliers. Always want to have a pair of pliers when you put in fiddly things in. Pull that back. That engages in there. That's the CSE. The sears. So that should operate, which it does, see, okay, and that feels much smoother. So what we'll do, put a final bit of molybdenum on there. We'll put probably a little bit of molybdenum on the ball and the spring, or should stop it falling out actually, because as long as it engages in the safety, that's the main thing. So there you go. So that feels smoother already. So what we'll do, we'll come back to this. I'll show you putting put the ball and everything in, and then we'll come back to the assembly bit. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon. So I'm back with my 2240, and I've done all the trigger. Put the spring back in. I put the little ball and the little spring back in for the safety. Put a little bit of molybdenum grease on to stop them falling out. Then I'm going to reassemble these. I've already compressed this spring a little bit, so it's a little shorter now. So I'm expecting to get that down from 5.5 pound to probably, hopefully, about 2. So I'll be doing a trigger pull after this. So what I've got to do is to put these two bits together like so. Find the actual. Put the front bolt in first because that's a nice long one. Screwdriver. Here we go. Find the hole. There's the hole there. Just get you started like so. What fiddly. That's it. Once you've got the front screw going in, right, so then you can push the rest up, put the rear one in. You've got a little cap at the end that you've got your hammer spring behind, so you might have to push that up slightly. Yeah. So probably the best way to do this would be to hold that down like so. Put one finger at the end, thumb at the end, edge of the table, and then do that up. Okay, and do the front one up the rest of the way. Okay, so that is that. Just give it a tiny little tweak. You don't need to go crazy. Just make sure they're tight. That's tight, and that's tight. Okay, so that's the trigger back on, and we can actually test this now. So we pull that back. Safety works. So it's that safety on, safety off, and obviously start to pull the trigger. That goes nicely. So that is smoother. Okay, I think some of the notchiness of this trigger probably comes from this spring. So yeah, you can't be doing much. You can get the adjusters to go in there. So you might get an adjuster, but that is actually a lot smoother, a lot smoother. So that's it. That's how you do the sears. And I hope you like the video. Take care. Thanks for watching. Just got to put the grips back on. Job done. Take care. Bye bye. Good afternoon. So this is a little bit of additional video. So this is the trigger spring. Yeah, dictates the actual amount of pull, and because the actual sear rides on this end of the spring, I'm going to polish up the edges because this lip here is actually quite sharp, and that might cause the graininess before the trigger breaks cleanly. So I'm going to polish both ends. I'm going to use some 120 grade sandpaper, use some polish on it, some metal polish first, and then I've got some 600 grain and some 3000 grain over there to basically smooth it all off, and then I'll grease it up and we'll see how it works. So it's a little tip, because even though I've done the sear and the trigger, which is really nice and smooth, breaks cleanly, the grittiness, a little bit of grittiness still coming from the spring. Okay, so I hope you like a little bit of video. Take care. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon. So I'm back with my 2240 after I've taken the actual trigger assembly apart, polished the actual trigger, polished the sear, just compressed the spring a little bit, polished both ends of the spring, greased them up with molybdenum, put some nylon washers on the actual pins for the trigger and that. So the play that was in the trigger is all gone now. Yeah, it's nice and firm. It's good. Okay. So I did a trigger pull off after I just assembled her, and she's doing £2 now. She was £5.5 out of the box, so that's really good. She's nice and smooth. There is a slight amount of movement in the trigger before she goes, and that's the spring itself moving. You can see as you pull it, you can see with the grips off that there's a little bit of click, just a tiny little bit, but which is really consistent. That's it, really consistent trigger, and it's a nice weight now. So £2 good enough. Like the Mito is accurate, and that's a £2 pull. Obviously, you can get down to 500 grams for like something like a Steyr. My wife's Gamma Compact is 630 grams. So yeah, it'd be nice just to make me take a little bit off, but the problem is that if you make this spring too weak, it won't cock the hammer. With the safety off, this cocks the hammer nicely. It's safe. I had a bit of a bounce test on it to make sure it's okay. So that's the main thing. But yeah, really nice. So we'll do a bit of a shooting test outside, a bit of accuracy. We'll probably use a slightly heavier pellet than the ones we tested with before, because this does shoot high with these sights. I'm pretty sure that's as low as it goes. I shall have an adjustment to see if it goes any lower, but this does at 10 yards. This does shoot about an inch high. So from the aim point. Okay. So we'll probably use either 15 or maybe even 18 grain pellets to do outdoor shoot on this. So I hope you like that little video. And there you go. That was the actual reading. You can read that. It's £2. So yeah, did three pull-off tests and a very consistent pull. So there you go. So that's how you do a few things on the 2240, and there'll probably be a few more things to do. Next will probably be a new breech, steel breech probably will be the next thing. Okay, so I hope you like that little video. Take care, and thanks for watching.